you can't have the joy of Easter without the pain of Friday.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Easter Sunday is not a celebration if there wasn't death on Friday. And I can just be honest and say what I want from Jesus, what I want from life in general. I just want all Sundays. Give me Easter Sunday every day.
Yeah.
Give
Yeah,
me victory after victory. Give me joy after joy. Make me happy, Jesus. Make my life work. Keep suffering and pain away from me. I mean, if we're honest, that's what all of our agenda is.
Thanks for listening to Behind the Mic. This is your spiritual deep dive conversation of radio theology. And now here are your hosts, Pastor Daron Earlywine, Ryan Allwert, and Lisa Graft.
Happy Easter. Welcome to the Easter edition with all of the chocolate-filled bunnies, Peeps, jelly beans, Easter baskets, Easter dresses, Easter heels, Easter egg hunts. Jesus is alive. Welcome to Behind the Mic, the Easter edition here with Radio Theology. How about that intro, guys? Did you feel like I Eastered up enough?
It was. Do you remember how disappointed you were as a kid when you realized that the huge chocolate bunny you got was hollow and not solid?
Oh.
Like that's the only thing I kept thinking when you were saying that. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm having these like PTSD flashbacks of like, I thought it was solid chocolate and it's not.
I do recall. Did you guys, speaking of that.
I'd forgotten about that, Lisa.
Mm-hmm.
What did you bite first?
Oh, I went straight for the ears.
For sure. Yeah, I bit the ear first. Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I think I was an ear guy.
Yeah, I think I usually just snapped the whole head off, knowing
Just ripped it off.
Yeah, knowing I can do all of this.
I agree. I do recall that. Now, I think if you had had a solid Easter egg or a solid bunny, that could have possibly put you into some type of cardiac arrest or sugar overload. That'd be a lot of chocolate.
That'd be a little too aggressive, yeah. But the hollow ones, oh, for sure, I could just snap the head and handle that bad boy, no problem.
Oh, gosh. Yeah, they need to make a quarantine version for that where it is just a solid brick of chocolate that just you can chow down on when you're all cooped up.
Now, I'm anticipating that this could be a tough Easter for Easter baskets. I mean, for just trying to go out for essentials, if you're not really thinking ahead, to think essentially to get the candy and things you need. But hopefully for your kids on Easter, you guys got it all figured out. And even if you didn't have candy or baskets, I grew up with usually not having baskets, and I grew up very well balanced. I'm great. I barely need counseling. So your kids will be just fine, and they'll be just fine because Easter is not actually about chocolate-filled or hollow bunnies or whatever. It's about Jesus being alive. And so, man, we had a blast, guys, putting this show together for Easter for Radio Theology. And, you know, each and every week, guys, when we do Radio Theology, we understand the context. We know that we're three Christians trying to bring faith, hope, and love to tens of thousands of people on a secular station. And so a lot of times we, I guess you could say we try to balance being at the, sometimes the shallow end of the pool, or bring people just enough spiritual content that it's refreshing, but they don't drown in it. For Easter, we took the limiter off a little bit and went a little bit deeper into our conversation. And in the first hour, guys, we talked about kind of the three, if you will, the three acts, I guess, of the Easter weekend, which is death, waiting, and resurrection. And man, we are experiencing, I think the maybe we'll call it the life cycle of Easter. I feel like I'm experiencing it right now, if not on a daily basis, for sure on a weekly basis, where I've had moments where they felt like death. I know that things have needed to die within me, whether they're character issues or whether it's a connection issue with friends or my wife, or and then there's been seasons of waiting, and I'd like to say there has been tons of resurrection in my life, but I've had more of the dying and the waiting moments. What about you guys?
Yeah, I'm seeing that as well, but what the lens I'm kind of taking it through is just on a more micro scale. I'm seeing it more as the hope is dying, and then I'm waiting for it, and then it resurrects itself. And so that cycle for me has looked like, I know we talk about my daughter Josie a lot, and quarantine is bringing out like the best and the worst in her. But so she's reverted back to some kind of violent temper tantrums and things like that, which has been really hard. And so then that causes me complete hopelessness in basically everything in life. You know, how one thing could just go like, that's it, just turn it off for the whole day. And then the waiting of going, how do I navigate this, and what do I do, and where's the hope? Where's the, the best part? But then when that resurrects, oh my gosh, those moments are so beautiful. And one of the examples, because I get to share because I have a microphone, and I'm going to brag on my girl child now, is the other day we were on our back deck, and Ryan was grilling, and we were just kind of waiting for dinner to get ready. And our neighbors 2 doors down and then 3 doors down, who we don't talk to, and one of which we've never met, they were both out in their backyards. And Josie's like, let's go encourage them. And I'm like, no,
Wow.
no. Like, huh? Like, they're sitting, like, this couple is sitting on their back deck drinking wine. Like, they don't need encouragement. Like, what are you gonna say to them, 5-year-old, But she's like, Mom, let's go. And I'm like, okay. She grabs my hand and off we go, traipsing through the backyards of our strangers / neighbors. And so she just walks, socially distanced, of course, right up to this couple, and she's like, hey, you guys are doing a great job. And
I love that.
It was so sweet. And they're like, thanks. You too. How are you guys? So we had a brief conversation with them. And then the family right next door, they have a fence, so we couldn't get as close, but they have a baby. And so she runs up to the fence, and she's like, Mom, tell him something. I'm like, honey, this is your deal. What do you want to say? And so I just said, hey, we just came over. We're, making our rounds of encouraging people, And I said, Josie, what did you want to tell that mom? And she goes, you're a really good mom.
Aww.
And then she runs away, and I'm like, okay, bye. I'm Lisa, by the way. That's Josie. We live over there. Okay, see ya. But it was like, that is a resurrection moment, from like being hit and smacked, if we're going to talk about exactly what was happening earlier in the day, to this wrestling and waiting, and then to watch the resurrection happen. Like, those are the moments I'm experiencing so many times a day. It's exhausting, but it's good. Like, it's good.
Yeah. That's a great theme for just this entire season. Like, this is hard, and it's tiring, and it costs so much and drains so much, but it is ultimately good. I think I've seen so much good come out of the world. I'm it's easy to go down in the rabbit trail of negativity, and with all the stats that are very scary. But trying to find the good in the world, I think, has helped me see this season as, yes, we are waiting. We're all waiting to come poke our heads back out of our dens, at some point. But ultimately that we can find good, and that we can find God in this time. I was just texting with a friend who's out in Colorado, and he came into a relationship with Christ a handful of years ago, after being a skeptic largely his entire life. And we were just texting about how we hope and are praying for that this season draws people more to a realization of the reality of God and the nearness of God and the goodness of God. And it was just such an encouraging text conversation of, that God's not out there, but it's more in here. He's not just out there that's distant, averse. He sets all this into motion and just says, you guys deal with it. But he really does, I think, want to come close, and he might use a global pandemic to bring people more into an awareness of his presence, his reality, and his deep, deep love for each one of us.
Yeah, that reminds me too of what you said on your. We keep referencing this Facebook Live. We'll have to put this in the show notes or something. But Daron, when you went live last week and just said, you're looking forward to Easter and the plans and the prayers that go into maybe this being the most impactful awakening Easter ever. But it was like the kingdom of God is within you. It lives in you. And like I've heard that and know that and all of that stuff. But when you said it again, I was like, oh my gosh, everything I need is within me, and because of my relationship with the Holy Spirit, like it's awakened. It is already alive and well. I just need to go in and get it instead of looking out there for the next thing that's going to fix my current situation. Like it's within me. And so then I started looking a little more inward going, wait a second, like, duh, hello, how many times do you have to be told this? Like, it's in you. You're equipped for this. But in this season has not been it's not been easy for me to remember that. And so, I don't know. So that's just some encouragement is like the kingdom of God is within you.
And what I've always said, is to people is that so often in life we say and we believe that I'm unequipped for whatever this challenge is. And the truth about us and what the Bible tells us, right, is that because of God's Spirit within us, like we have been, 2 Peter 1:3-5, which is one of the core scriptures for spiritual DNA, when I developed that, says that you've been given everything you need for life and for godliness, or for life and to serve God through your knowledge of Christ. And that through his great and precious promises, he's given us everything we need and the ability to participate in the divine nature, to actually participate in God's Spirit within us. And looking at that reality is you are equipped for every season of your life. But because of what Christ is and isn't through you, now you are almost always unprepared.
Yes.
And those are two massively different things. Is you're unprepared, but you're not unequipped. And I think that it's trying to find that distinction. Is all of us absolutely unprepared for this season, but we're absolutely equipped to walk through it. And as you look through, the lens of the Easter season, Easter week, is you can't have the joy of Easter without the pain of Friday.
Yeah.
Right? Easter Sunday is not a celebration if there wasn't death on Friday. And I can just be honest and say what I want from Jesus, what I want from life in general. I just want all Sundays. Give me Easter Sunday every day.
Yeah.
Give me victory after victory. Give me joy after joy. Make me happy, Jesus. Make my life work. Keep suffering and pain away from me. If we're honest, that's what all of our agenda is, right? Maybe it's just me. God, make me comfortable, make everything work out, make life easy, make it convenient.
Yeah.
If it's not, then I don't know that I want to serve you.
Well, yeah, I think underneath that, we're ultimately, and we've all said it at some point, hey, let me be God and you sit over there in the corner until I need you.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
That's really what we're saying. It's like, let me retain control of my life until I need you.
Yeah. And we pray big things like, God, change me, transform me, make me more like you. Well, and he's like, okay, that's a great prayer. I will absolutely do that. But here's how do we get life? Well, we get life from death. That is every symbol, every ritual that Jesus has given us within the church declares the same thing: life from death and life over death. If you're baptized, what are you declaring to the world? I am buried with Christ that I may be resurrected to live a new life. It's life from death. Communion. What is communion? We're taking the body and the blood of Christ that was shed for us, that brought us life. So it's life, from and over death. The cross itself declares that. And I don't like the fact that that's the case because it's uncomfortable, but it's in these seasons where we realize that this feels like death because it is Like you're dying to your selfishness. You're dying for your ability to do whatever you want to do. Some people, I mean, not figuratively, they're literally dying from this. So whether it's figurative or literal, the hope is still the same, is that what Jesus has done allows life to always triumph over death. But if we're in these moments and we're wondering why it hurts when you come face to face with, whether it's character, whether it's chemistry issues in your relationships at home, all of the different things, it hurts because death does. But I don't see any passageway to true hope and resurrection without experiencing the pain of that.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I don't like it. I don't like it either. But I think the hardest part for me is in the middle is the waiting. Because I'm like, okay, I'm dying. This is death. Okay, like that at least feels more familiar to me. And I'm like, okay, I can do that. I've had tons of pain. I've had lots of heartache. Death, it's gonna hurt, but I know that ends. And then I always do know that there is the resurrection. I've lived enough of that, but it's always the waiting in the middle. That's the hardest part because that is what's different every time.
Like the timeline, you mean?
Yeah, the timeline and what it looks like. Because sometimes it doesn't, after you do the death thing, it doesn't hurt as much while you wait. But sometimes it hurts more. And again, it's just the uncertainty because I'm like, I like having a plan, and that's my, I need control, which I know I'm not alone in. But it's like, okay, if I do the death thing, that's great. I know the resurrection is coming, but when? And that's why the waiting, and that's why this quarantine season, all of this, I'm like, yeah, I know there will be a resurrection day, but this maybe in 2 weeks, but probably not. Maybe by July, I don't know. How about next December? I hate the waiting. I hate the waiting.
Mm-hmm. Well, the Easter story feels better because we can see the start and the end of it, right?
Right, exactly.
It was a Saturday season. It was they waited for a day basically. And it was Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday. It's like then it was over, and then it was resurrection, and then it was cool. But yeah, right now it's like I'm kind of experiencing this life cycle daily, but this waiting to get back to life, there is no plan, there is no definitive thing, and it's like there's no doubt that's a part that is driving us a little crazy at home. I mean, I feel like I go through the life cycle where I feel death, then we wait through the day, God shows up, it's a good day, I go to bed, I wake up the next day, and it's like even this morning, Julie and I, I'm starting my day, reading the Bible and praying and having good coffee, and then it's like we both start flipping through the news feed, and it's like, well, what? They're talking about school, maybe not in the fall, or maybe this, or maybe that, and it's all maybe, and then you're back in this season of waiting, and it's like, the fear, the anger, the stress, all of that starts coming. And it was interesting, as we were recording this episode, we took a quick little, bathroom break, and I went outside and Julie was like, aggressively fast prayer walks, listening to worship music, still work.
Yeah.
And it's like, she had to literally grab her, her spirit and her soul and her mind, by the back of the neck and go, we will, I think Lisa, one of you guys said this during the show this week is, we will worship through the waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Lisa. Mm-hmm. I was just thinking when you were talking about that, this morning, prepping breakfast for the kids, just blaring worship music in the house, and just it's not the music that does anything per se, but it's the recentering of my mind. I love that image, Daron, of grabbing yourself by the back of the neck and saying, no, we need to focus here.
Yeah.
We've got to stay positive on this. I mean, you don't have to Google far to find out that when you are in a place of fear, when you are letting your anxiety take control of the situation, which is a very real experience for millions of people in the world, your immune system actually gets compromised.
Yeah.
in those moments. And so fear is actually putting you at a more susceptible risk to getting sick. And I think you have to find those individual ways throughout your day where you can pause. I'm trying to teach our two little kids, like you especially our daughter Olivia, you don't have to speak when you pray. Sitting on your porch and watching watching the signs of spring can be worship.
Yeah.
And listening to music, playing music. For me, it was getting out my guitar and sitting down on the driveway while our kids drew on the driveway. That was a moment of stillness for me. And you've got to find them throughout the day, or else the train is going to leave the tracks and it's going to be really hard to get it back.
Well, and I think it's about standing on the promises of God above your emotions. And in the ebook that we just released on Friday, God is Near, that I wrote, we'd love for you to have that. If you'd like to get it, you can just go to IamBornToBe.com and sign up. That's usually where we send you for the 5-day jump start to purpose. You'll get that as well, but we'll send you a copy of the ebook for free. Or you can just message us on radiotheology.com and say, hey, I'd love for you to send me a copy of the new book. But one of the chapters in the book is about choosing God's promises over our fearful emotions. And one of the promises God says is he says, I inhabit the praise of my people. And I think a lot of times we have these Bible passages that we could put on a bumper sticker or wear as a shirt or just say, but it's in these moments where it's like, if God is real, and I believe he is, and if we need his power and his spirit to get us through these moments where our worry, our fear, all these things are taking over, you have to stand on that promise and go, okay, I need God's presence in my life. So it's not like, well, I should just listen to some music. It's like, no, when we begin to worship God, and we worship God in a lot of ways, but a lot of times one of the best ways is through music, is when I begin to actually worship God, he promises that he will inhabit the praises of his people. So he will meet me in this moment. And there's times, I'm thinking about the time in the Old Testament when I believe it was David's son, I can't remember which son it is, I should remember, dies. And I believe it's the first child that he has with Bathsheba, and it dies. And he is praying and fasting and weeping for the life of the child, and God doesn't answer the prayer and healing his son, and he dies. And it talks about him getting up and going in and worshiping God in this moment. I think I'm remembering the story right. If I'm not, please don't destroy me for being a terrible pastor. But it's this moment where he says, like, I will force myself to worship you even when I don't feel it, because it gives God an opportunity to be faithful to his promise that he will inhabit the praise of that. He will be in that moment with you. And we worship through the waiting, because it's when we do that he joins us, and we find ourselves not alone in the time of waiting as well.
Yeah. Well, I love that, because obviously I'm a singer, and I'm singing all the live long day, and it's generally always worship music. And if it's not, it's the soundtrack from Frozen 2. And and so but one of my favorite worship songs, one of the lines in there is like, you abide in the songs that we sing. And so I love that image that I get when I am projecting my voice, and instantly God is right there in the very breath that I just breathed. Yeah, I love that so much. So if you need a visual, that has helped me so many times, going, oh my gosh, yeah, yep, you're here. I'm not alone. I'm gonna keep singing, even though sometimes this hurts.
It's good. I hope that encourages you guys, and if it does, we'd love to hear from you. We're so grateful for the times that you guys have reached out to us, let us know something you listened, that an episode helped you in a certain way, and our team prays for you every Monday when we're together, and we would love to do that. You can reach out to us just through radiotheology.com or to any of us personally, either Daron, Ryan, or Lisa at blackbirdmission.com. We'd love for you to go over there. And once again, I'd love for you guys to get this ebook I put out, but we want you to have it for free. It's a short ebook. It's not that long. It won't take you very long to read, but I think it may encourage you in this time that God is near. and that he does inhabit the praises of his people. He does stand by his promises. He can be more than near to you. He can actually be within you. And if these are some things you need, I'd love for you to get this ebook. You can just sign up for it at iamborntobe.com, and we'll send it to you when we get your email. Or if you want, you can just email us or direct message us at radiotheology.com. Guys, one of the things we talked about this week as well that I think is good is the idea of extending grace to each other and believing that right now we really are doing the best we can. And that doesn't mean that we don't feel disappointed that someone's best isn't great. And I think that's where we get confused, is we go, well, they're doing their best they can, so that's okay, and it should make me feel okay. That doesn't have to be the case.
No.
If you're being disappointed by your kids' behavior, or by your behavior, or by your spouse's behavior, or attitudes or reactions, you may be getting a very clear picture of where they really are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, which may be disheartening for you. But if we can start from the place of at least baseline with each other of, okay, I don't love where they really are, but that's where they are, and right now that's the best they can do. It does put us in a posture of grace for where our loved ones are, of where we are, in a time where we've never experienced something like we've experienced. But usually for me, guys, my first knee-jerk reaction is not, oh, you know what, you're doing the best you can.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Same. In mine, it's kind of become a little joke in our house. But we started it the first day of quarantine because I think it was my husband at that time, though we've all taken turns, like burst in the room, was like, what's going on here? I can't believe whatever. I don't even remember what it was. And I was like, nope, try again. And so, like, he left the room and came back and started more nicely, you know? And so, we've said that so many times to each other. Just
try again?
Yeah, nope, try again. And so,
like that.
you just turn around.
Like
it's just so easy. It's hard, you know, because then my first initial reaction is like, oh, yeah. Oh, you want to go? Oh, yeah. Oh, we doing this now? Okay. But it was like, nope. Try again. And so we've all left the room. It's a little hard for Cal to understand because he's not even 3. But we've all left the room with try again. And sometimes I even go to myself, you know what? I'm going to try that again. I physically take 10 steps, turn around, and act like it's the first entry point into the conversation again. So it's become a little more lighthearted, but it's like an easy way to go, oh, yeah, we can do better. We can do better. But we're doing okay.
I like that a lot, Lisa. That seems... that that is gracious, right? Like I know, like, that didn't work for me. I mean, it's that allows you to set a boundary of what is appropriate, what will be allowed, right? Like, oh no, like how about you try again? Like, but that's beautiful. I love that. I might steal that from you in our home.
Yeah. Let me know how it goes.
Okay.
I can tell you it works out a lot better than rising to the occasion. Which just is not pretty. And then no one's doing the best that they can because we're all spiraling down in the deep pit of despair.
Maybe that's why Jesus said to be slow to speak, slow to become angry, and quick to listen. Man, does he seem to be wise at all moments.
Yep.
Hey, listen, we're going to wrap up. It's been an absolute joy to be with you. We really do pray and hope that these episodes are continuing to bring you hope and encouragement. If they are, we'd love to hear from you. We'd love for you to share it with somebody that you know that may not be listening to the Radio Theology podcast or Behind the Mic, and they need some encouragement right now. Send them that way. Once again, if you'd like the ebook, God is Near, love to send that to you. Just head over to iamborntobe.com and sign up. We'll send you the book. Guys, what do you got coming up this week? People can hang out with you. Ryan, you got some more sing-alongs, buddy?
Yeah, Wednesday and Friday nights from 9 p.m. Eastern to usually 11:30. So if you're up late and you want to sing some songs, just join me on my Facebook page. You can also go to ryansongs.com to listen to all the music.
Wonderful. We will have another virtual pub theology happening April 16th from 8:30 to 10. We're going to be raising some money for the employees of the Rathskeller, one of the local bars where we were supposed to be with Pub Theology, which will be a blast. And Lisa, what do you got coming up? Anything?
Yeah, I do. I have, for the next 4 Thursdays, I'm doing a Quarantine Queries is what it's called, a webinar series with our friends at Thrivent Financial. So those are a series of 4 webinars that I'll be doing every Thursday early afternoon. And so I think they're also going to be live streamed on my I Am Mother of the Year page. And so I'll be posting about that as well. So, and probably we'll include that in the weekly emails or something like that too, if you're on our email list, so we can stay connected and encouraged that way.
Wonderful. Guys, we love you so much. It's an absolute joy. We were just talking before we push play today or record that we've been doing radio theology for 3.5 years now, and it's a joy and it's an honor to walk with you, to encourage you, and we really do appreciate the opportunity to be a part of your life, and we'd love to hear from you. Send us an email, hit us up on Facebook, but until we talk to you again, never forget, God is for you. He's not against you. He's near you, not far from you. And he has created you on purpose and for a purpose. Happy Easter week. We love you.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Behind the Mic, the spiritual deep dive conversation of radio theology. If you have a question to ask Pastor Daron or have any questions for any of the radio theology cast, just email us at Daron, Ryan, or Lisa at blackbirdmission.com. And be sure to share this episode with a friend who could use a little encouragement. Talk to you next week right here on Behind the Mic.